What is up, tribe? Welcome to the show. I've got a special episode today with a good friend of mine, Grant Warrington. It's not even about him per se. We'll get you back on at some point, Grant, to be a guest. But I wanted Grant to come in to share, for both of us to share top 3 takeaways that we had from the recent Detroit GoBundance Global event, which was excellent. And as a reminder, for those that are interested in this community and being part of it, whether you're a millionaire or not, men's, women's division, it doesn't matter. GoBundance.com. Go ahead and fill out an application, and we'll make sure that you go to the right community for you and get you all sorted out there. And also, please like, subscribe, leave a rating and review on this podcast. It really helps with us getting reach and growing the types of guests that I can get on, and so on and so forth. As my phone goes off on the beginning of this thing, already off to a great start. Grant Warrington, welcome, buddy.
What's up, bro? How you doing, man? Thanks for having me.
I'm doing well. So Grant's a local guy, local GoBundance member that I had to drag in kicking and screaming. We're going to save that story for later when we actually have you on as a guest, which I don't know why we haven't booked that yet. Why haven't you been on?
I don't know because you haven't asked me. Let's just be honest. Okay.
Yeah. Well, there's probably a reason for that. I try to go with like really good guests. And then when I run out of them, I go with bad guests. And then when I'm out of them, I'll ask you.
Sounds
that work?
Good. Yeah, that works. That works for me.
Kicking and screaming into GoBundance, and the dude has absolutely blown up. And you should follow him at Grant Warrington on all platforms, Instagram and TikTok specifically. So, Grant, we were in Detroit this past weekend. You and I happen to live in Metro Detroit. Of course, everything is happening in this episode right now. Do you hear the dogs? Somebody just rang my front door. My phone is going off. See, this is why I don't have you on, Grant.
You're very professional. Yeah, I can see.
Yeah, I know. But let's talk a little bit about this event, this Detroit event specifically. Let's go with this. What was your number one takeaway from the event? Doesn't have to be in order, but what was the first takeaway that you had of the 3 top from this specific event?
Got it. And like takeaways, I always hate doing that, but I like the thing that it forces me to do it, right? It forces me to sit and write these things down. Because normally I don't do that. I don't know. People say takeaways. And I'm like, I don't know. It was a great fucking time. I don't know. You know what I mean? But one thing that really came to me that I wrote down was wealth snowballs. I was talking to a gentleman, and his net worth, I can say, right, what his net worth is?
Yeah, I mean, it's 9 figures. It's 9 figures.
9 figures. That's great. So it's 9 figures, and I'm talking to him. I happen to already know him, but and he's telling me some different things, and I'm so excited for him and also blown away, right, by the numbers. And he's like, Grant, you got to understand something. I've been doing this for 45 years. Like, how long you been doing it? And I said 7. He's like, okay, so wealth snowballs. And once you get it to a certain point, you can't stop it. He said, one day your net worth is going to be higher than mine. And that blew me away. I never really thought about that. I'm like, that is awesome. I mean, that just gave me so much like encouragement and fire and drive. And I was pumped to hear him say that. And he gave me the example about Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett, most of his net worth was created like after the age of 65. So yeah, that was cool. So that one really had a huge impact on me.
It's funny. There's 2 things with that. One is in talking to him. And again, he's an amazing human being, a great guy, always brings his wife to the events, right? Like, he's just a good dude. He had said pretty much if he continues on his trajectory, literally does what he does, almost on autopilot, like breathing for him at this point. If he continues to do what he does on an annual basis and allows for compounding, he's about 10 years away from a net worth billion. It's just math. It's not bragging. It's not, posturing or beating his chest. Not at all. Not at all with this guy. It's simply math. It's simply the power of compounding. And to that point, if those of you who haven't already, go back and listen to the Albert Berez episode, Berriz. This is a guy with 4 or 5 billion in assets, not under management, that he owns with McKinley, right? Albert Berez, we both know him. Yeah. And he said the same thing. He's got to be in his 60s at this point, I would say. Maybe he's approaching 70. But he said, man,
48.
Most of my, sorry?
He's 48. So in case he's watching it out there.
That's very good kissing up, Grant. I appreciate that. Yeah. But yeah, he's at least in his 60s, to be very clear. For those not watching and seeing the snarky view on Grant's face on video and listening, he is in his 60s. But he said too, most of his net worth, which is in the high 9 figures, maybe it's $1 billion. I don't know. has been made in the last 5 to 7 years, and he's been at it for decades. He remembers the 82 financial crisis. I was 4, you know what I mean? Like he's been through it all. And it's the same exact message. So I love that, man. I love that.
You know, and another thing too, that people, you know, maybe just listening to this don't understand. It's like the connections you make. So like with this gentleman, this guy sent me a message after, and just like, awesome meeting you in person for the first time. We had talked on the phone. You know, we just talked about, he said some things about that we talked about that meant a lot to him and I. And if there's anything I can do for in the future, let me know. You know what I mean? It's like, what a great, not only is an awesome human being, it's just like, those are the kind of connections you make in GoBundance. You know what I mean? So just really exciting to make those connections.
Yeah, no doubt. I have to do 2 quick things though here. It's him and me. In the context in which you said it, you were incorrect grammatically. You said with him and me. You would say with me. You wouldn't say with I.
If I say it, it's correct.
It's incorrect. Anyone watching on YouTube, drop it in the comments. Am I right or is he right in the context of what he just said? Is with him or me, or him and I?
Or who cares? You can drop that in the comments.
No,
too.
I care. Cares? It's one of my pet peeves, actually. And secondly, really? I coached Grant in advance to not say the words and another thing. So play along. Count how many times he's done it. He's already done it once. You didn't even catch yourself, I'm sure. Don't say another thing. That's bad podcast etiquette.
Drop who cares in the comments if you don't care.
I'm going to give my first takeaway, and it was from the CEO coaching breakout. And it's, you know, it's funny. It's fairly simple, but at the same time, it's very impactful. It made me really hone in. And it was the concept of identify one thing you would celebrate in a year, right? So, okay, it's whatever day, July 25th, as we sit here. In 1 year from today, what would have happened in your business for you to pop the champagne, go out to a nice steak dinner, wine, whatever? Like, we are absolutely celebrating today because in 1 year, this is what's happened. And then chunking it down. So he said, break it down to 2 things that have to happen for you to have that celebration in a year. And then from there, break those 2 things down into the next logical steps. So I'm a fast moving guy in my businesses. I like to kind of go and roll. And, you know, I always have the vision in mind, but sometimes I get lost in the nitty gritty. And it was just a really good reminder. I wrote it down in my new Remarkable, by the way, not sponsored, but I would recommend this to everybody. I wrote it down in there, how for me, it's just a way to keep focus on the task at hand, which is, hey, this is what I want to celebrate. What are the 2 things that need to happen at the high level? And then what are the steps to make those 2 things happen? That was really logical for me. What do you think?
I think that's good. Yeah, I like that. I was just writing that down. Identify the one thing you would celebrate in a year, right?
Identify the one thing. Yeah, like what is that? What will have happened? So it's more like what outcome has happened if you're going out to dinner and celebrating with your wife or your friends or your business partners or whatever. Is it, man, we made $5 million this year, or, you know, we acquired X number of units, or we bought this business, whatever it is. Like, what is that outcome? And then, all right, what 2 things would need to happen for that outcome to have happened for you to have this big celebration around it? And then what are the steps, the 2-3 steps in advance of, or, you know, to get those 2 things done so that you can have the outcome? So it's really, we talk about it in Emerge all the time. It's goal setting to the now. It's the Gary Keller principle, but the way in which it was packaged and presented was a good reminder, which is what these events do sometimes. Like often it's not new information, but it's, you know, a reminder or repackaging information, or just a way in which it's said, or even the version of me that I am as I go to this one versus the next one, or even one 3 months ago, you know, gets it in that moment. That's why I think I keep going back to these things.
Yeah. Well, I like that too. And I like, you know, our Michigan GoBundance chapters in WhatsApp, right? And I like how everybody's putting their big 3 takeaways. Because I mean, we're at the same event and I read some of this shit and I'm like, oh yeah, I didn't catch that. So
all over, right?
Yeah, no, that's great. That's a good one. Yeah.
Yearning for meaningful. I'm reading them right now. Some of the takeaways. So no, that's a good point. That's a really good point. What was number 2 takeaway for you?
I would say one of the big ones was I happen to, fortunately, I got invited to speak as a newer member, and I got to be up on stage, and I said something. I was truly honest, and, you know, to be truly honest and open up, it's tough sometimes, but I said, you know, if you don't know my story, I'm not going to get into the whole thing, but just a piece. It was a struggle to build. We had to cut expenses, right? It was a struggle. My wife and I both. And I said that sometimes I would often ask myself, would my wife have been better off without me, not
Mhm.
having met me? Would she be with someone else that has money and all these different things? Fortunately for my wife, this is her dream too. So she's like, listen, bro, I'm in this with you. She doesn't call me bro, but I'm in this with you, So fortunately, or it might have got pretty bad there during some times, but I shared that, that this is a question I've asked myself, and I've told my wife, would you be better off without me? And I had a guy come up to me after I got off stage, and he's like, dude, he was emotionally, he said, I asked myself that same question. So that for me was like, just be honest when you go into these events, be open, be vulnerable. And him and I bonded. It was, how can you not, right? We share this thing, and I explained to him how I got over it, how I get through it. Right. And the other great thing is I know someone who's even better to talk to than myself about it. And that's what I did. I said, listen, let me introduce you to this GoBro dude. He's a rock star at this kind of stuff. And I put those two together, and I really, really think that helped. And now I created a bond with a guy that's going to last a lifetime.
No doubt. No doubt. I love that. The bonding dynamic is absolutely incredible. And to your point, when you're at these events, or even not, even in, a microtribe meeting or a pod meeting or whatever, the ability to be vulnerable here, because often, and maybe this is your case or not, but I know it is. We know each other well enough to be able to share openly with most of your regular network of friends. It loses something. Either they view you as having success, whether it's real or perceived. Like the grind is, you talked about it. Like, yeah, you had assets, but cash flow was tight, right, for you. And for me, I thankfully had a job that was paying me before I moved on to something else. But still, the vision of it is, well, what problems could you have? I don't really want to listen to your problems because you have all this real estate, right? So unable to relate to people in your regular network, where here you can be vulnerable with people. You can share and open up because you're in similar situations, if not maybe looking up at a lot of folks in this room. So I think that's a great takeaway.
Yeah.
It's funny. I just read my second takeaway, and it was actually similar to your first one. So be patient and take consistent action. And I mentioned the person that is 10 years from compounding to being a billionaire. I think in general, between that and even some of the other guys that were there, he's been on the show, Daniel Del Real, just talking to him about some of the stuff he does. We were talking about his passive to active investment strategy, like how many he puts in his own portfolio versus kind of handing over to a syndicator or an operator to invest for him, and just how he balances that and make sure that he's got his own balance sheet as well as a sort of passive investment. But in any case, seeing some of the financial success that many have had thinking this way before I did. This is like a newer thing for me to be thinking in a way of, building horizontal income, building wealth, building legacy wealth, making an impact. I just didn't think that way before a few years ago. And then GoBundance has furthered that. But to then think back after seeing the success on the other end that these men have had, for me to think back and think, wow, you know what? Maybe I haven't realized that level of success yet, but damn, I planted a lot of seeds, right? Like these things, I want them to grow right now because I'm fucking impatient, but like, but for the most part, these things are going to grow. I'm 43. So by 48, and my kids are only at that point 12 and 9. Like, man, that's a cool time to be coming into a point where, knock on wood, my financial success has double, triple, quadrupled, or whatever it is. My ability to even be more lifestyle free above and beyond where I am right now is amplified. And I'm still young. My kids are still young. There's still a lot of life to live, but my brain, I want it now. And I have to remind myself, this takes time. Planted the seeds, and seeing the other side of it gives me the delayed gratification muscle that I lack naturally. Watching some of these guys that allowed themselves to delay gratification and seeing what that delayed gratification has done, it makes me go, like I said, be patient, and time will allow for a lot of the success that you're looking for. So that's my second takeaway.
I think that's great. I was just kind of in the beginning there, what you're saying reminded me too. I was talking to a guy, and he's like, he's talking about Puerto Rico, right? He's thinking of moving to Puerto Rico because there's no income tax there, right?
There's something like that. There's Act 20, Act 22. There's some major tax advantages to move there. Yeah.
so, he's bringing that up to me, and because I told him we were thinking of moving, possibly Florida, something like that. And he's like, well, you need to look at Puerto Rico. And he's saying about the advantages to the income and, the no income tax. And I told him, I said, listen, I don't show any income right now. And he's like, well, are you ever going to?
Yeah.
I said, fuck yeah. One day we're going to make a lot of money. We're going to show a lot of income. And he's like, that's the thing. Plan now. And you need to start thinking now and put things in place now to take advantage of things in the future. So that just kind of got me thinking. I'm not saying we're going to move there, but it's just that, you talk to these people and it makes you go, oh yeah, I am going to have some things happen in the future. I need to think a little bit bigger, think a little bit farther into the future, not focus on myself today, but I'm growing this business. So I don't know. That was just a little eye opener. That's not a takeaway, but that just made me think of that. So.
Yeah, no, but you're tagging onto the one I had. So no, I appreciate that. What was your third takeaway? G-Dubs. Now he's taking the drink of water. You got to be better timing on these things. I'll teach you. Learn with me. But what is your takeaway?
Dude, killing me. Now I know why I haven't come on the show.
Yeah.
So fair anyway, develop pure relationships. And what I mean is, that's what I was doing there. I was developing pure relationships. And it was like through support and encouragement, helping people with their struggles. I would meet people, talk to them. Here's a problem I'm having, whatever. And hey, well, here's what I did. Or I could connect you to this person. And we just bonded, but you bond not even knowing the person. So at this event, I'm bonding, creating these great relationships. And then you come to find out what they do or what their net worth is, or what, like in the outside world, people would want to bond with them because of those factors, because of their net worth, because of what they do. Like, I don't know. He's just a dude there that's got the same problem as me. And we bonded, right? And then you come to find out all these other factors. So I think that's what's cool about GoBundance is we're just all in there together. And I have no idea what everybody does until you dig in, and then we share and do all those things. But that's what I meant by pure relationships. They're not based on those outside factors that you'd build a relationship on outside of GoBundance.
I love it, man. And even digging deeper on existing relationships, like so you got a room, even though we're local, you got a room. I didn't. I was like, you know what? I travel a lot. I'm close to the family. I'm just going to be home each night. But then Pat calls me and says, hey, you want to interview me and Tim 8 a.m. on Saturday morning? I'm like, yeah. It's 45 minutes each way for me to drive, but you let me crash at your place. But we went out, we got some hot dogs. We were up till 1:30 in the morning, chatting and gabbing and getting, just sort of getting deeper on this stuff, what we were taking away, enlightened moments or whatever. So even being able to build deeper relationships with those that you have come to know really well. You and I knew each other before GoBundance, but even within, there's a different, we're speaking the same language now. It's not like I'm in this thing, you should check it out. We both know the same people and have the same network, which is cool. My third one came from Dave Asprey. So we had Dave Asprey at the event. For those listening, he is the founder of Bulletproof Coffee, and is a biohacker. I guess, the way Chris described it was, what did he say? Like the Neil Armstrong of biohacking. No shortage of bloviating there, but that's Chris. He does a great job with the intros. But he said about upgrading your Meat OS, Meat being MEAT, like your body, the body that you're in being a meat suit, OS being your operating system. So he called it the Meat OS, upgrading the Meat OS. And he gave 3 steps. It was assess, monitor, and upgrade. So just like anything else that you do, your business, your relationship, whatever, assessing where you are, which he gave a laundry list of ways to assess between brain scans and heart monitoring and, hormone measuring and all this stuff, blood work, which I have to do a bunch of. It's funny. My wife has been on me. I have a pack to send all of my stuff in and get it all assessed and get a report on that. I just haven't done it. But that gave me accountability to do it now. But assessing that and then monitoring through tools like the what is it? The Aura Ring. He gave a bunch of other assessment tools, like, daily monitoring tools. That's the most obvious one. It's the most, what's the word? It's the most consumer friendly one, the one people know. And then upgrading. Okay, well, this this is what I need to do to change that diet wise, exercise wise, regimen wise. And what I loved about him too was he was asked to share his supplement regimen. And he said, no, that's my supplement regimen. Everyone's different. I like that.
Yeah.
It's not like all of you should do 75 hard because it worked for me. It'll work for you. There's no way it won't. It's like everyone's got an individual chemistry and body makeup. So I like that his core sort of take on it was everyone has their own way. So I'm not going to share that with you. And this is what works for me. And this is what works for other people. So I took that from it. Assess, monitor, and upgrade my meat operating system. I don't know. Yeah. Anything from that?
First of all, I just think Dave Asprey, that like, I don't know if guys know what a rock star this guy is. Like, you can equate it, like, this is kind of what I do too, but like on Instagram, he's got like 575,000 followers. The dude is phenomenal. So it was amazing that he hung out with us all weekend.
Yeah.
Like
played ultimate frisbee with guys.
Ultimate frisbee. He went a helicopter ride with the guys. But he was there. He was standing in the back. Like, you could go right up to him, chit chat with him. After the event was over, he was there. I talked to him for a while, got a picture with him, and just shooting the shit with everybody. And everybody just had more questions. And man, he was great just answering the questions. So to get that kind of, to have somebody like that around us the whole time, the whole conference, it was, to me, it was pretty cool, so I really enjoyed it. He had a ton of cool shit to say.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed it thoroughly. So it was a great event. It was more intimate than most. It was probably about 100 guys versus, say 2 or 250. Like Park City was huge, right? Park City was a much, much bigger event, which is, there's the highs and lows of that. Park City, there was more interaction, obviously, but at the same time, this allowed you to get deeper and more maybe personal, more vulnerable directly with people. Like you were bumping into the same guys over and over, which was good. So,
and Chris, the CEO, for those who don't know, just about the end of the event, we're doing, he had us doing this thing, and he's like, okay, I want you to find someone that you don't know now, and I want you to connect with them, and you're going to answer these questions with each other. Right. And I'm looking around the room and I'm going, man, I think I know just about everybody here. It was tough for me to find somebody I hadn't connected with. I like that because I really got a chance to talk to just about everybody at that event and really dive a little deeper. So the smaller event was, it was pretty cool. When I did go to Park City last January, that was awesome too. Loved that. But you got to talk to people maybe once, you know what I mean? You didn't get a lot of time to dive deep with a lot of people. And we really did on this one.
Yeah, I know. I like that's the thing for folks that haven't been and wonder, like, what's a GoBundance event all about? About half the time is some sort of networking, whether it's one sheets or the paired interviews, asking really deep questions and challenging questions of each other. And then, going to another person and asking those questions and meeting people. And then, like you said, ending it with that is a really great way to make sure you sort of tie a bow on it and, get to know folks. Then you have the after party and all that stuff, which is great. And then the other half of the time is stage time, 7 to 8, Dave Asprey. We had, what was their names? Losing investment panel.
Yeah.
Which cool. I took a lot from on that. I'm surprised that's not in my top 3 takeaways, but there was so much in that. Go back to Daniel Del Real talking about revealed versus communicative knowledge. That was just brilliant. So, and I think his episode, when it comes out, talks about that. So stay tuned for that. But no, it was a great time. Great seeing you as always. And appreciate you taking the reins as local chapter leader now that I'm headed off to sunnier pastures.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for letting them go.
What do you mean letting? What do you say? I'm a control freak?
Yes, I am. Very much so.
So does my wife. But that's why I did the mushroom thing. Again, another prior episode. I had the integration specialist on with me, and I have another one coming up this week, actually. So I'll let you know how that goes afterwards.
Nice. And I want to say that 7 to 8, by the way, was phenomenal. I waited all week to hear that. That was the best. I mean, I don't want to go into the, it's
7 to 8. We do this monthly, and then we do them live at the events. It's an 8-figure or 9-figure, I guess, millionaire that's interviewed about what were the steps you needed to take to go from a 7-figure net worth to an 8 or 9-figure net worth. What mindset shifts, what protections, what asset shifts or changes or whatever, like all of the different things. Like there's a great adage, what got you here will prevent you from getting there.
Mm-hmm.
And I think what 7 to 8 is, oh, hey, yeah, I got to this level by doing this. And then in order to get to the next level, I had to stop that and do this. And each guy has a unique take on it, which is really, really interesting and informative. So Yeah, I missed that, but yeah,
phenomenal. For that, if they recorded that, you need to watch that. I love seeing too, because it's awesome to look at somebody and see where they're at now today, right?
Yeah.
And go, oh wow, that's so cool, you know. And then with the 728, you get to see all the bullshit they had to go through, and it's like, wow, they struggled just like me. You know what I mean? So
yeah. Again,
it's
be
really
patient.
cool.
Right. That was my second takeaway. Be patient. What we learned from
Yes.
this one gentleman with the high net worth. Be patient, and things will happen for you. So anyway,
Perfect.
Grant, any last thoughts?
No, that's about it. I appreciate you having me and not having me on the other podcast, but
Yeah, we will have you on as an official guest at some point. I don't know. I want to do it when I'm in the background. There's like palm trees for me, and for you, there's 7 inches of snow and gray skies. That'll just anytime I can feel better about me at your expense is a good day for me. You know?
Yeah. Yeah. You need it. Yeah. I don't blame you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're hairier, you have better skin tone.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, give me these wins.
Exactly. Yeah. I don't blame you.
Anyway, for those of you out there, thanks for joining today. Again, check out GoBundance.com. If you have any questions on the events or whatever, you can go to our Instagram page at GoBundance and look at that. Make sure to follow this guy at Grant Warrington on Instagram. And he's now a Bigger Pockets content creator. So this guy's blowing up right now. Good time to get in while the getting's good. And I promise if you DM him, he'll answer you. He'll talk to you. He'll spend hours on the phone with you. I'm kidding. But no, he's a good guy to follow for sure. So thanks to all of you. Thank you, Grant. We'll see you on the next one.
Thanks.